All right, guys, so you took your test. Hopefully you looked at those after I returned them to you. That was a pretty cool experience to grade those online. I hope the feedback was helpful. We're going to continue actually in chapter 11. Those probability packets I gave you, they will come into play later. I handed them out because I really wasn't sure what was going to be happening with our remote schooling, but I think we can move on in chapter 11. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to 11.8. So in your INB, you need to set up a page for notes for 11.8. And these are going to be fractional equations now. We've been working with expressions, no equal sign, but now we've got equations. And we're going to talk a little bit about something called an extraneous solution too. It's a really fancy terminology. All right, so let's take a look at a fractional equation. Let's look at 7 over 2x minus 3/5 equals 1/10. All right, so fractional equations, it is the number one thing to clear your fractions. So we're no longer working with fractions. But before you do, look in the denominators. So in order for this to be a fractional equation, there must be at least one denominator with a variable in it. And it looks like we have it right here. There's our denominator with a variable in it. You need to pay close attention. We are not able to have a 0 in the denominator, otherwise it will be undefined. So we need to come up with what value of x will make this denominator 0. Well, if x is equal to 0, then this denominator is 0. Correct? Correct. So x cannot be 0. Get that out of the way before you even start the problem. Decide what values of x that x cannot be. Okay, so now let's work on clearing our fractions. This just kind of goes off to the side. We'll talk about it later, possibly. We're looking now for an LCD. Just like you did with last chapter or last section before on your test. So the lowest common denominator of 5, 10, and 2x. It looks like we need the 10 and we need the x. So 10x is our LCD. And rather than making all of our denominators 10x, we're going to multiply every term by 10x, or the LCD. So 10x times 7 over 2x minus 10x times 3/5 equals 10x times 1/10. So everything's equal because we multiplied by 10x on both sides, distributed over here. Now we can go ahead and clear fractions. So the 10 and the 2x, so x's are gone and the 2 is gone, the 10 becomes a 5. So this fraction is just 35. Denominator is just 1. This fraction here, 5 divides with the 10 is a 2, so 2x times 3 will give us 6x equals, the 10 and the 10 divide, so we're just equal to x. Now this is an algebra like baby problem. You guys did this when you had your little diapers on as babies. You can totally handle this. Add 6x to both sides. So 35 equals 7x, divide by 7. So x equals 5. Is 5 the restricted, not allowed number? Nope, so we are golden. All right, let's try another problem. Let's put a binomial in the denominator, shall we? Let's do 3 over x minus 5 plus 3 over x plus 5 equals 7. So again, we have fractional equation. We have variables now in two denominators. So what is x not allowed to be? Let's focus on one fraction. So x minus 5. What will make this denominator equal to 0 if x is 5? So this x cannot be equal to 5. Let's take a look over here. What would make this fraction or this denominator equal to 0 if x is negative 5. So x cannot equal negative 5. Otherwise, we're going to have problems. All right, so there's our restricted, what's called the restricted domain. We're not allowed to have these numbers or input those values. So now let's go ahead and clear fractions. Talk about our LCD. Well, we need an x minus 5, and we need an x plus 5. This denominator here is just 1, so we're good to go. So let's multiply through by x minus 5 and x plus 5. Plus, I think I should have done this in landscape. X plus 5 times 3 over x plus 5. Oh, I should have definitely done this in landscape. X minus 5 times x plus 5 times 7. All right. Once I divide things out, then I'll have more room. So here we go. X minus 5, x minus 5. So that means this fraction is 3 times x plus 5. X plus 5 and x plus 5. So I've got a 3 times x minus 5. And then 7 times x minus 5 times x plus 5 here. Nothing divides away, nothing has to divide away. Okay, here we go. Distributing 3x plus 15 plus 3x minus 15 equals, let's FOIL these guys first. So 7 times x squared minus 25, difference of two squares, right? So that's going to be 7x squared minus, 7 times 25, 175. Check me on that. And over here, I'm going to combine like terms. So the 15s subtract away, and I've got a 6x. All right, now take a look at what you have. Quadratic term and a linear term. That means you need to move it to one side, set it equal to 0. So here we go. I'm going to do this because I want my x squared to be positive. So 7x squared minus 6x minus 175. Oh, yucky. I don't want to factor that. What's plan B? If I don't want to factor, I do the quadratic formula. So here we go. I'll rewrite this. 7x squared minus 6x minus 175 equals 0. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's disgusting. All right, so we get x, we're going to do approximations. X is about 5.45 and x is about negative 4.59. Be really careful using your calculators, friends. All right, so these are our two values. Now go back and look. What is our restricted values? We can't have a 5 or a negative 5. Are we in trouble here? Nope. Looks like we're good. So those two values are answers to, or they're solutions to the fractional equation. All right, let's do a subtraction problem, subtraction equation. So let's do 2x over x minus 3 minus 6 over x minus 3 equals 9. Oh, happy day! Look at your denominators. They're the same. That's lovely. So let's combine it so we have just one fraction over here. So 2x minus 6 over x minus 3 equals 9. Okay, now let's take a look at our denominator and decide what is our restricted value. X cannot equal, what's going to make it 0? X can't be equal to 3. Okay, moving along. What would be our LCD? LCD is just x minus 3. So we'll multiply everything by x minus 3 times 2x minus 6 over x minus 3 equals 9 times x minus 3. So then they will divide out, and I've got 2x minus 6 equals 9x minus 27. Baby algebra, we can do this. This is easy peasy. Here we go. Minus 2x minus 2x. So I've got negative 6 equals 7x minus 27. Add 27. All right, that will give me 2, I can do math. 21? 21, divide by 7, divide by 7. So x equals 3. Now go back and check. What was our restriction? Oh no, look at this. We've got here, but x is not allowed that. So guess what your solution is? No solution. So see, it happens sometimes. It pays to go back and double check. All right. If you missed something or I went too fast, you can hit pause. Go back, listen to it again. All right. Good luck with your homework. Leave me a note in the streaming section if you have questions on any of the problems, and I'll do a video on any of those that you have questions on. Okay? All right.